The day I unlocked my late wife's old safe with the tiny brass key she had hidden for years, my entire world changed. I had barely lifted the heavy door when my son walked into the room. The moment he saw what was inside, every bit of color disappeared from his face. He didn't ask a single question. He simply whispered, "Dad, please don't open that file." At that moment, I knew there was a truth he had been carrying long before I found the key. If emotional family stories with unforgettable twists and meaningful life lessons speak to your heart, I'd truly appreciate you subscribing to Behind Dad. Before we continue, I'd also like to mention that the pictures shown throughout this story are creative visual dramatizations inspired by these events. They are not actual photographs from my family's life. My name is James. My wife Margaret passed away 2 years ago after a long battle with cancer. During her final days, she placed a small brass key into my hand and quietly told me, "Don't use this until you're truly ready to know everything." At the time, I thought she was speaking about old family keepsakes or personal letters. My grief was too heavy to think about hidden meanings. I placed the key inside my desk drawer and couldn't bring myself to touch it again. 2 years later, while cleaning the basement, I found the old wall safe hidden behind a framed family photograph. My hands trembled as I turned the key for the first time. Inside were faded photo albums, Margaret's wedding jewelry, several sealed envelopes, and one thick blue file marked with my name in her handwriting. Just as I reached for it, the basement door opened. Daniel stood frozen at the bottom of the stairs. His breathing became fast, and his eyes locked onto the blue file instead of me. I had never seen fear like that on my son's face before. He slowly stepped forward and quietly said, "Dad, whatever Mom left in there, please let me explain before you read it." The way he spoke made my hair. For a long moment, I couldn't answer. I simply looked at Daniel and wondered how long he had been carrying this fear. My hands rested on the blue file, but I didn't open it. Instead, I asked him one question. "How do you know what's inside?" His shoulders dropped. He slowly pulled out a chair, sat across from me, and admitted something I never expected to hear. A few weeks before Margaret passed away, she had called Daniel into her hospital room while I was getting coffee. She showed him the safe, handed him the spare key, and made him promise never to open it himself. She told him the file belonged to me and that only I could decide when I was emotionally ready to read it. Daniel kept that promise for 2 years. But after she died, curiosity got the better of him. One night, while I was asleep, he secretly unlocked the safe and read part of the file before guilt overwhelmed him. He confessed that he never finished reading everything. He closed the file, locked the safe again, and hid the spare key because he was ashamed of breaking his mother's trust. I could hear the regret in every word he spoke. Then he lowered his head and quietly admitted there was something even worse. "Dad, one document is missing." My heart immediately tightened. I carefully opened the blue file and counted the folders inside. Margaret had numbered every section in neat handwriting. 1, 2, 3, 5. Folder number 4 was gone. A blank space remained where it should have been. Daniel's hands started shaking. He swore he hadn't taken it and insisted it was still there when he secretly looked inside 2 years earlier. Before either of us could say another word, the front doorbell rang upstairs. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened the door, a middle-aged woman stood on the porch holding an old leather briefcase. She politely introduced herself as Margaret's longtime attorney. Then she looked at the open safe behind me and quietly said, "Mr. James, I believe someone has." I invited the attorney inside without taking my eyes off Daniel. My mind was racing. Part of me feared the missing folder contained something that would destroy the little piece our family still had. The attorney introduced herself as Rebecca Collins. She carefully placed the leather briefcase on the dining table and looked at me with a kind smile. "Margaret knew this day would come," she said softly. She prepared for every possibility, including the chance that one file might disappear. Rebecca unlocked the briefcase and removed a sealed envelope marked Folder 4, certified copy. My hands trembled as I accepted it. Daniel looked completely stunned. He had never known a second copy existed. Before I opened it, Rebecca explained that Margaret had insisted the original remain in the safe, but ordered her law office to keep an identical certified copy in case anyone removed or destroyed the original. Hearing my wife's careful planning made me realize just how much she had been trying to protect our family. Inside the folder were financial records, handwritten notes, and one letter addressed to me. The records revealed that several months before Margaret passed away, someone had tried to access our family investment account using forged authorization forms. The bank rejected the request because one signature didn't match. Margaret quietly investigated instead of confronting anyone immediately. She wrote that she wanted facts before making accusations. At the bottom of the page was the name of the person who submitted the paperwork. It wasn't Daniel. I felt my breath catch in my throat. The name belonged to Ryan, Daniel's closest friend and former business partner. Ryan had often visited our home and knew where we kept important documents. Daniel buried his face in his hands. Through tears, he admitted Ryan had begged him years earlier to help him locate financial records, claiming he needed them for a business loan. Daniel refused, but he never told me because I slowly unfolded the final letter, and for a moment I couldn't even breathe. Margaret wrote that she never wanted suspicion to become our family's inheritance. She explained that after months of quiet investigation, she discovered Ryan had acted alone. The second person she investigated was only mentioned because she believed every possibility should be examined before reaching the truth. After reviewing bank records, security footage, and legal documents, she cleared Daniel completely. She wanted me to know that our son had made mistakes in life, but stealing from his own family was never one of them. Daniel broke down in tears. For 2 years, he had carried the weight of believing I might someday suspect him. He admitted that opening the safe before I did had been the greatest regret of his life. He had dishonored his mother's instructions, and the guilt stayed with him every single day. I looked into my son's eyes and realized fear had punished him long before karma ever reached Ryan. A few weeks later, the investigation into Ryan's fraudulent financial activities was completed. The missing original file was recovered from a storage unit connected to him, along with forged paperwork and other evidence tied to several victims. Ryan was held accountable through the legal process, and every lie he built eventually collapsed under the weight of the truth. My wife had been right all along. Truth may move slowly, but it never stops moving. Today, Margaret's brass key rests beside her photograph in my living room. I no longer see it as the key to a safe. I see it as the key to the final lesson she wanted our family to learn. If this story touched your heart, share your thoughts in the comments because your words may encourage someone to choose honesty before regret becomes permanent. Share this story with someone who believes the truth always arrives, even when it takes years. Thank you for spending this time with